I saw the release date and now I need to change my pants. So let's talk about the release right off the beginning because I think a lot of people are going to be very curious about that. This laptop should release near the end of June in the United States. Lenovo didn't give me an exact date. I asked them what date I can share with my audience, and they said late June is when it'll be available in the US. So, but this has already been in sale for a couple months in the Asian markets and in Europe, I believe. So, yeah. Lenovo sent me this. This is a review unit directly from Lenovo marketing team. So this is not what I purchased. I usually purchase most of my laptops that I review, but at least lately I've been doing that a lot. But this one is a review unit. So big shout out to Lenovo for sending this over. And they just kind of reached out to me out of out of the blue. I kept trying to reach out to them and they finally got back to me. So I'm pretty excited about that. So this one comes with a Ryzen 7 48 AMD Ryzen 7 5800H, 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte SSD, RTX 3060, 16-inch WQXGA, which is 2560 by 1600 resolution, so 16 by 10. This thing should be a really, really awesome laptop. So let's check this out. Cool, cool, cool. So that should be enough time for a lot of notifications to go out. Let's start off by just quickly going over the official specs page for this laptop here. I think this is the best one right here. So let's go ahead and just do this guy. All right, so the Lenovo Legion 7 16-inch by AMD. So this has been, like I said, this has been sold in the Asian markets like Singapore. And this is supposed to retail for about $1,700, like the specific build that I have. This one is going to be a little bit different because like this one has 32 gigs of RAM. I have 16 in mine. But this one both has a RTX 3060 in it, Bluetooth 5.1, a 4-cell, didn't say the watt hours here. We have a 720p web camera. And I think the thing I'm most excited for on this laptop is the display. So let's go ahead and start the unboxing off right and just get everything unpackaged first, right? That's how we got to get this thing rolling. You guys keep typing goat into the chat. You are the goat. Awesome. Well, I'm really glad because I know that this laptop has a lot of hype. And so I was really happy when Lenovo decided to send it over to me. That should be good. Watch out. So this is, like I said, this is not a retail unit. This is a review unit sent over by Lenovo. So this isn't going to mimic exactly the unboxing experience that you should expect. But this is going to be probably pretty close. Just know that this has probably been opened by another reviewer before. Yeah, well, so the unit I have in particular should be $16.99, like this configuration model. So, okay, well, so we have a big box and we have foam, and then we've got a little box. I think the laptop's probably in there, and then we've also got another box right here. So this is probably the power brick. So, sir, when are you going to do the unboxing of the ROG Strixcar 17? Right? I wish. Um, I, unless Asus sends me the 17-inch version, I'll probably just stick to my 15-inch review for now. Because there's just so many reviews I got to do right now. That's a big power brick, especially for an RTX 3060. So I think that website mentioned this has a 300-watt power brick. That's pretty crazy. So large power brick. Yeah, this says 300 watts right there. And this is a Lenovo brand, so if you need to get another one of these, you might have to buy directly from Lenovo, especially since there's a proprietary port right there. So know that your options will be limited if you need to get a second one. Will I be reviewing the 3080 model of the Legion 7? Possibly, but for right now, just the 3060. What do I think of the M1 chip? I think the M1 chip is a very efficient chip. I think Apple's got lots of potential, and I think there's tremendous possibilities in the Apple lineup. But the problem right now is software compatibility. I actually filmed, I actually benchmarked, filmed, and created a whole review for the Apple MacBook Pro, but I never actually um, edited it together to put it out. Just didn't feel complete to me. And I feel like that's just because the M1 chip has so many software incompatibility issues that you really have to spend many, many hours with it to get a good idea of whether it's going to be right for you. So, because a lot of like each individual software is going to be optimized for the M1 chip or not on an individual software by software basis. So, um, but once the software's figured out, that chip's going to be awesome. I want to buy a laptop nearly $3,500 for coding and gaming. Suggest me some. Okay, we'll do that. But let me get this thing unboxed and uh, going. Get the updates going and everything for it. Okay, so this is pretty cool. We got a bit of a design right off the bat here with almost like a guide for like what the buttons do. So a power adapter, power button, a webcam privacy button. FN plus Q, R, 4, U, and L will do different functions like changing the screen refresh rate from 60 to 165. Changing the fans, FN plus Q will change the fans to quiet, auto, and max fan, looks like. It's pretty cool. And then the keyboard and backlight looks like the screen display and backlight right there. If you use FN plus, it looks like the shift or arrow keys. It's kind of cool little guide. Most laptops have this kind of thing, but it's in like this folded up piece of paper usually. But I like that. I like that style. Bro, I got the Strix G15 with 3070 from your recommendation. Thanks for your detailed reviews. Really helped my decision. I hope you're really liking it. I think that's a great option. Okay, so here's the laptop. We got a microfiber sleeve for it. And there it is. Okay, this thing is a bit slimmer than I thought it was going to be. Not going to lie. I mean, it is probably about an inch thick. And it's weighty, like this is a nice weighty chassis. Open it up, and wow, the screen to bezel ratio on this thing is great. Very tiny bezels all the way around. Even the top, there's not that big of a bezel. Like the bigger bezel is mainly just around where the webcam is, but other than that, it's very, very small, slim bezel. Please read. The following are the ideal settings for your Lenovo Legion system to achieve best gaming performance and best battery life. Your system is currently set to best performance. Settings for best performance, open Lenovo Vantage software. Under the Legion Edge section, toggle off hybrid mode. You'll be prompted, so this is using the mux switch right here to switch to dedicated graphics only. We want to make sure basically that the mux is turning integrated off. And then we want to use the FN plus Q keys to activate performance mode. Slide the Windows Power Management bar to the far right and select Best Performance. Settings for Best Battery Life. We want to move the Windows Power bar to the left. Under the Lenovo Vantage software, turn hybrid mode on, and you have to restart the system. And then you want to set it to balance mode. Slide the Windows Power Management bar to the battery setting. Better battery setting. Okay. I mean, pretty standard stuff. That's what I would expect. That's what I do all the time for every review anyway. And here is the Legion Ultimate Support. Congrats, your Legion is covered by Legion Ultimate Support for the first year at no cost. 24/7 phone or live chat. Prioritize next business day on-site service. Really? That's pretty impressive if that's actually accurate. Like they'll actually come next day. I think I saw on Reddit someone say that they'll come next day to fix, because the guy had his hinge break and they came out and fixed it next day. So, and you can extend the ultimate support coverage for up to 3 years. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Very similar to, it sounds very similar to Dell's warranty service, though I don't know which one's the best. Okay. Anurag, can you suggest Strix Scar 17 over Scar 15 or not? And will the laptops with the 3000 series last till 4 years for best gaming? Can you tell? So I think Scar 15 versus 17 just comes down to whether you prefer to have more portability or a bigger display. That's about it. Performance should be pretty similar, maybe slightly better thermals on the 17-inch version. Okay, let's get this plugged in and get it turned on. Okay, so, well, you know what? Let's take a look at the ports first. All right. Whoop. On the right side, we have our webcam privacy button and our USB-C. Looks like no Thunderbolt. It's an AMD laptop, so we shouldn't have that anyway. Another USB-C and a headset port right here. On the back, we have the vast majority of ports. Another USB-C, an Ethernet port, three USB-As, and an HDMI along with the power port. So all the USB-As are on the back. You may love that, you may hate that. I personally prefer to have at least one on the sides because it allows me to plug in a mouse a little bit easier without having to look behind on the back of the laptop, but that's okay. I think it's a decent trade-off because then if you have a lot of cables coming out of your laptop, you at least don't have to they won't be visible when it's sitting on a desk. Okay. How much does this Lenovo laptop cost? This one should cost $16.99. All right, let's take a closer look at the keyboard. So, I need to zoom in here. What was that? Okay, so you can see that we've got this like metal deck here. The keys feel great. I like the keyboard a lot. I've always liked Lenovo keyboards. And this is a good one. I like the feel. It's not deep travel. It's kind of like a medium depth for travel. So if you like deep travel, you might not like this one, but for the most part, that's a really nice feeling keyboard. I bought a G15 with 3070. Should I return it and get the Legion Pro with 3060? I don't know, Ramsey. I don't think that's necessarily a great trade. I think they're going to both be really great laptops. If you like your Strix G15, I'd say stick with it. Up to you, though. It's totally up to you what you want to do with your money, you know? But I don't think there's going to be a major trade-off there because they both are going to be high TDP GPUs providing great performance. Nice. That is a very bright screen. I like that screen. Let's get positioned. Okay. Should we take the bottom off? I think we should, yeah? Now, I got to ask you, chat, would you rather me unbox the Alienware M15R5, the AMD version, or the new MSI GP66 with Intel 11th version? Because I have both of those in those boxes over there. Not today, but for tomorrow. I want to know, which one would you rather me do for tomorrow? Because I'm going to do another live stream tomorrow. I'm probably going to do a live stream. My goal is to do one every day this week. So if you don't want to miss out on those, be sure to subscribe. GP66, I see GP66. Let me know in chat. Type it once which one you'd rather me do. The GP66 with 11th gen, or would you rather see the Alienware M15R5 tomorrow? Okay, let's shut this sucker down and let's take the bottom off. I like that idea. Let's take a look at what we got under the hood, see what the upgradability looks like, and see how hard it is to actually take the bottom off. You know, because each computer is so different. I see you guys are alternating between the GP and the Alienware. That's hilarious. I mean, I kind of want to do the GP66 because it's the 11th gen Intel. I really want to run the Cinebench and test out, try it out, Okay, 1 second. All right. So it looks like we have Phillips head screws on this. And for this, I've got the iFixit toolkit, which has tons of different little add-ons and makes it easier to pry your laptop apart with plastic tools. And there is a link to this in the video description down below. This is that kit. If you need something more basic, I mean, get something cheaper. But this will last you probably the rest of your life for a really, really long time. Really, really well made kit with a good versatility. So, uh, nice thing about tools is they will last you for many years as you switch between different laptops. So I recommend getting some good tools. How much does this laptop cost? $16.99 is how much this model should run. And the release date should be end of June. I already mentioned that earlier, but that's the rough release date for the United States. Okay. I don't have an exact release date because Lenovo did not provide that, but they did. I did ask them if I could share the date with them, with you guys, and they said end of June. So, all right, let me go ahead and pack this up a little bit, get some stuff out of the way. Am I gonna unbox the Asus M16? I'd like to, but I don't have access to it yet. I don't think it's for sale in the United States yet. And Asus is not planning on sending me it yet. So if Asus sends it to me, I will. I think that'd be that'd be a great laptop to check out. All right, there's that. Let's put this back in the big box. There we go. Okay. Finally got nice tools. Cheers. Thanks, Sandor, for the $2 super chat. LOL. Guys, it does help me if you slap a like on the video. It does help this video for its performance, and it helps support my channel. So it's a simple way to support me. I know it takes a little bit of hassle pressing the like button, and I hate it when YouTubers ask for it, but it really does make a difference. So I'd appreciate it if you guys slap that like button. End of June, China released beginning of April. Yeah, I think in Singapore they released like February, March. It was like I saw videos on Reddit of people with their laptops all the way back to then. So this is a very tiny Phillips head screw driver needed for this. So a bit specialized. Your normal Phillips head screwdriver is not going to work for these. So you need at least a micro kit. When it'll be available in the US, end of June. $3060 115 watt versus 3070 80 watt, which is better? Those are going to be really, really close. For the money, the 3060 will probably cost you less money, but it'll depend on what other things the laptop comes with. So, but the 3070 might be a bit better in some games, especially like RTX titles that can use the extra cores a bit better. I don't know. It's hard to say exactly. It might vary by game to game. But in general, I'd say a 3060 with higher watt is going to give you better bang for the buck than a 3070 low watt. Okay, so all of the screws are out. Let's see what we got to do to take this sucker apart. Ooh, I can tell we've got LEDs along the edges here. And okay. What about the Legion 5? When do you think it'll be released in the US? I don't know, Mohammed. I haven't heard about the Legion 5. But I wouldn't be surprised if they released at the same time, but I have no clue. Hmm. This is a very tightly put together laptop. I'm going to look up, see if there's a guide on how to take it apart online or not. Just because I want to make sure I pry it apart from the correct place. Okay. Seven manual. I mean, I'm probably not going to hurt it if I give it a shot here, because I'm going to use the plastic tools and be gentle. That's the key, really. In general, I'd recommend trying to slide it first, and if the sliding doesn't do anything, like some laptops need to be slid apart, and if that doesn't do anything, then gently prying up from a side. What's the TGP of the 3060 in this? 130 watt. I don't know if that's the base or if that's the full amount. Yeah, I don't. That's not really coming up at all. This is a very tight chassis, and I don't want to mess this up. There's got to be. When will the Omen 3060 review happen? Oh, B saying thanks for the super chat, and someone else gave a super chat. Yeah, B saying gave a super chat earlier. Thank you for both of those. The Omen 3060 review is still a work in progress. I still got to benchmark that sucker. I got very busy making another video for Gizmo Slip, my larger channel, and it took a lot of extra work, and so I got very distracted. And plus, I've been playing a lot of games, so there's a combination of those two things. Like I am a gamer at heart, like a true video gamer, right? So like I don't just review. I like actually playing the games on the laptops. Reviews from China says there is some kind of noise in Legion 5 Pro. Let me look online in here. Legion 7 16-inch manual, user manual. Maybe I can find it on their support page because usually they will have a user guide that will have a little, step by step on how to take the bottom off. I might just do this off stream. I know that I can find a picture of what this looks like. I saw online. Let's see, Legion 7, 16-inch under chassis. Yeah, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to take you guys' time up with this. So what I'm gonna do is just take the bottom off after stream. But know that I'll talk about this in the review, I guess, for this guy, because people are going to be wondering about how to take it off, because this one's not an easy one to take off the bottom. There's no place to put the tool in, and I don't want to bend anything. Can you test dual rank versus single rank RAM on Intel Tiger Lake when they come out? Intello, I would like to do that. So did you guys watch Jared's video today? He talked about some RAM timings, and there are some secondary timings that influence the performance of RAM. And I believe that is probably what was going on with the laptop memory that I was testing as well. So I need to do some more investigation on that. But yeah, Jared made a video today about that, and I do believe in general Intel CPUs are also memory sensitive, but maybe not quite as memory sensitive as the Ryzen ones. So, but I would expect both of them to at least be memory sensitive to some degree. Do you think the Legion 7 or 5 3060 beats the Gigabyte G5 in terms of price to performance? Probably not so far, because the G5 was costing $1,100, or maybe $1,150 now. I need to check. I think the price shifted, but every time I check it, it's out of stock, so I can't confirm it. But at least at $1,100, I haven't seen the Legion 5 I haven't seen a similarly configured Legion 5 for that price yet. It's all costing $1,300-$1,400 so far for all the Legion 5 listings that I've seen. So TRFC of the RAM is affecting the performance on Ryzen. Yeah, I think that's what yeah, it's like the secondary timings is what he found out basically. And it's similar, I think, to what was going on with my RAM review. So let's move on to another topic though. Hey, is it possible to get the direct connection to the GPU on the Intel version of this one? No USB-C DisplayPort. Thanks, man. Yeah, you should be able to get a direct connection to the Nvidia GPU through more than one port. Every laptop I've tested so far has all had that option. So let's see. So let me move the computer or the camera so you guys can see the screen clearly now. It looks like I need to move that. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and make this a bit shorter. All right. Cool. All right. Very nice. Okay, so it's a little bit different having this 16:9 ratio display. It's the first laptop I've reviewed with a 16:10. Sorry, 16:10 ratio display, not 16:9. All right, let me move this mouse over to the laptop here, and it's got to plug it in the back because we have all the USB-As in the back of the laptop. There we go. Cool. So let's see here. So right here, you can see that all of the display outs go directly to the NVIDIA GPU, at least on this one. So that's nice. So none of these are going to reduce your performance. You can plug into any of the display outs. Looks like there's 3 of them. What's your opinion on the Lenovo Legion laptops not having fan control? I haven't. I mean, they have some basic fan control because you can press FN and Q to switch between different modes. But maybe they're not like manual fan curve. Is that what you're referring to, probably? And this is my first time using a Lenovo laptop. So my first Lenovo Legion review. I'm actually really excited to check this out. So checking out the software first, you can see that we got kind of this dashboard, and we have our CPU right here, Ryzen 7 5800H with Radeon graphics, up to 4.45 gigahertz. We have a 1 terabyte SSD. Network boost, you can turn that on or off and change the settings for that. You've got auto close. I don't know, is that add apps you want to close when you launch a game. This frees up resources to maximize gaming performance. It's pretty cool. Hybrid mode, so this is the mux switch right here. And then overdrive, this is for the display. We'll turn that on. Touchpad lock, this can disable the display. Rapid charge, I believe that's going to allow you to charge the battery faster if you want to do that. System update, so looks like we could do system updates. But let's go ahead and get connected to the Wi-Fi. So step 1, get connected. It might release according. Some people say that it's Toby says, I see some people got contacted by the Lenovo sales rep saying they're going to be released within this week. If so, that would be great, but that's not what I was told. I was told June, near the end of the month in June. But you know, I don't know. I guess that's a very interesting counterpoint. Okay, so let's check our updates, and then we'll also get some stuff copying. Our goal is to get Cyberpunk installed, test Cinebench, and then run Timespy. So those are our target goals. And once again, I have to stand up and plug in the back of the laptop, like so that we can get our stuff copying over. Mohammed says, does the HP Omen 15 3060 uh, with a Ryzen processor have a mux switch? And the answer is no, it does not. The Intel version does have a mux switch. The Ryzen version does not have a mux switch. Unless something has changed, it should be that way. Okay, Cyberpunk benchmark, Cinebench R20, R23, and okay, so we just need these, and we need Epic Handbrake, HW Info Valorant, Modern Warfare, boom, 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 boom. Okay, I think that's all of my benchmarking utilities that are quick and easy to grab. They said this laptop comes with cheap RAM and you get better performance if you swap the RAM. So Kasumi Miwa, Jared, I believe, found that this one actually comes with better RAM than the Legion 5, but it wasn't like the very best RAM. It was kind of like an in-between RAM. So with like medium timings. How's the 16 by 10 aspect ratio looking? It's looking awesome. I like 16 by 10, especially since I deal with spreadsheets a lot. I would definitely rock the 16 by 10 aspect ratio on a laptop if I could. Just because it gives you a bit more real estate, you know? So we will be testing Valorant Rapid 16 in my benchmarking video. So that'll be coming up. So I'll be doing a full suite of tests and benchmarks on this as well. Do you recommend the new Ryzen-based Alienware M15R5? I do, Abdullah Bassett, but I've got that laptop actually over here, so I'll be doing actual testing. So, but just based on the pure information that I have about it, I do recommend it as well. I think it's going to be a really good bang for the buck laptop with good performance. Steam. Okay. Update. So one thing I can tell you is that this has, out of the box, we've got scaling issues. So it's just common for every Windows laptop. We're at 150% scaling, and I would normally bump this down to 100% and just use this at the full resolution of the display. See that? Like I get so much more detail and real estate out of that. But because it's going to make it very hard for you guys to see it, I'm going to set it to 150% still. Just keep it at the default. I mean, it still looks pretty good, except for like this looks crisp, but like this at the scaling, the Steam window, for example, just doesn't look crisp. The text looks a little bit fuzzy. Am I going to review the Dell G15 Ryzen edition? I currently don't have any plans to review that, but maybe. It might pop up. How did I get the Legion 7? This was sent to me by Lenovo marketing team. This is a review unit that I'll be sending back to them. So not for me to keep. Well, let's go ahead and log in here. And we got to verify our login. Douche, douche. And we go. Can you do a video on the software you use for testing the apps you install for your day-to-day use? More like what's on your laptop type of video? Yeah, I could do a video like that. I think that'd be an interesting video, so people would watch that at least. Okay, let's get 3D Mark installing. And let's go ahead and check out the drivers for Nvidia and see if we need to update these. Most likely we do. Legion 7 price, any idea? This one should be $16.99, Addy. And just gonna log in real quick. Very nice. How much better is this compared to the 1080p screen, like the one on the Scar 15? So the Scar 15 that I have actually has a QHD screen, a QHD display. And I think the main advantage of this Legion 7 display is the brightness. This is going to be a bit brighter, about 100 nits brighter, and then it's also a 16:10 aspect ratio, so it's taller. But the actual detail is going to be very similar. And I guess the other thing is because it's a 16:10, it makes the laptop a bit deeper. Like the chassis is going to be deeper, but it also is taking advantage of the like. Let me just the best thing I can do is just show you them kind of side by side here. So we've got my I got my Scar 15 right here. Okay. So you can see that I've got a bottom bezel here about an inch tall, and this could just be a 16:10 aspect ratio display. Like they could have just made this a 16-inch laptop, you know? Um, so this design just takes better advantage of the potential real estate on a laptop, I think, and I really like that. I really like that they did that. Now, because it basically just removes the bottom chin and gives you more screen. So like, what's not to like about that? The price of this one was $16.99. Pawan. Okay. Naomi used the Legion 5 3060 cooling. They kept the vapor chamber cooling on the 3060 model, right? Unlike they did before with lower spec 7i models last year. I don't know Bracerus 57. I'm not sure. Interested in the GP66 review. Is that 130? 130 watt 3080? I believe it's 135 watt actually maximum. The GE66 new version with the 11th gen is 135 watt boost potential, which is really interesting. Did you like the Omen 15 with Ryzen 5800H and RTX 3060? Yes, I did, but I didn't like that the touchpad was clicky. Like it has a little extra click to it. It's probably my biggest gripe with it. Okay. Let's check our drivers now. Drivers. Yes, we've got an update. Download. Okay. Let's go to Windows Update. I really want to check out what the keyboard backlight and LEDs look like on this thing because right now they're not on, and I want to see what they look like. Looks like we have we do have a Windows Update as well. I don't know if we'll get that Windows Update before we run these, but these initial tests. Our 2020 Legion 5 with 1650 Ti and 1660 still good buys now. I think only at about like the $800 price point. I've seen a 1660 Ti Legion 5 for 800 with 144 hertz display. I believe I saw that. At least for 1,000. I wouldn't go more than 1,000 for a 1660 Ti for sure. If everything else about the laptop is just rocking awesome, then I think that's an okay price. Like if you have a really good display, good chassis, good processor, and it's 1660 Ti for 1,000, that's a solid deal. not an amazing deal because I've seen all of that be for 800 before. Yeah. Omen 3060 or Zephyrus G15 2021. I personally would go with the Zephyrus G14, but you don't get as much performance with that one. But the Zephyrus G14 also weighs quite a bit less and it's a 14-inch laptop, so it's quite a bit smaller. So if you're looking for something small and portable, go with the G14. If you're looking for something a little bit higher performance, then the Omen 15Z is probably the way to go. Or maybe even something a little bit thicker like the Strix G15 or the Zephyrus G15. Another good option. Will you review the GP66 11th gen? Yes, I have that in a box right behind me over there, or right behind the camera. I'll be doing a unboxing of the GP66 tomorrow. So if you don't want to miss out on that, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified when I do the stream again tomorrow. Maximum heat temperature. The standard maximum heat temperature for the Ryzen 5000 series is like usually it throttles severely at like 95 to 100 degrees, depending on what the manufacturer set it to. But AMD actually says that they can go up to 105 degrees Celsius. And then for the GPU, typically most throttle hard at 86 degrees. But I don't know what the actual temperatures on this laptop are, if that's what you're asking yet. We haven't tested that. So yeah. Asus Strix G15 thoughts? I think it's a great all-around laptop. It's just really hard to get it in stock right now. So that's the main downside for the Strix. Okay, let's. Okay. The screen, everything is so zoomed in right now. See how everything's so big? I think our scaling jumped up to like 200%. Yeah, it did. Okay. All right, and then if we go to, it seems like I don't have a 165 hertz right now either. I think when we did the Nvidia drivers, it messed up the scaling and probably changed it to be only 60 hertz. I can see on my mouse that we're not hitting the full refresh rate right now, unless I'm going crazy. But it looks like, yeah, we're only getting 64 hertz right now, which is weird. It's not giving me the option. Oh, the Nvidia downloader. So the Nvidia driver is reinstalling is what's happening. So when we did a clean install, it actually did a full reboot. So we're gonna wait for that to finish and probably have to restart again. I wish the MSI Z16 was going to have a higher wattage GPU. The MSI Z16. Let me check this out. Google Z16. Oh, the Creator Z16. Okay, okay. First time hearing about this one. Ooh, yeah, it's a thin little laptop. Yeah, that's what you get when you get a thin laptop, though. They have to sacrifice somewhere because it's just a thermal threshold, man. Would you recommend me a laptop for $2,400 and go for a premium laptop or go for a more premium laptop with a worse screen? Okay, so would you recommend me this laptop for $2,400 or go for a more premium laptop with a worse screen? I think that just depends on what components you can get in the machine. So for $2,400, you could get an RTX 3080. So like I would say you're going to want to get either a high TDP 3070 or a RTX 3080 if you're spending 2,400. At least as a gamer, that would be my goal, you know. So did our driver install properly? No, it did not. Okay, let's try going and downloading the new NVIDIA driver. Okay, 3080. We have a 3060. Start search. All right. Get download. Download now. Very nice. Okay. Keyboard deck temps for the Zephyrus G14 and heavy workloads for gaming. Is it unusable? So I would say that the G14 does get a bit warmer on the keyboard deck than a lot of other laptops because it's so thin and light. They have to put everything so close. But if you run it on high fans, so it'll be noisy, and then you apply a power limit to the CPU to 35 watts, the temperature on the keyboard deck is much more manageable. Check out my review in detail for if you want to know more about that, because I did a review of the Zephyrus G14. But if you run it at like max power limits and you just run it at like lower fans and the temperatures get warm, the keyboard deck can get very warm on that laptop. Muck switch, muck switch, muck switch. Oh my god. Question: Are you going to be getting the GE76 Raider 11th gen with 3080? I want to see the comparison between the 10th gen version and 11th gen. If it's anything game changer. Great videos, glad I subbed. So Gabriel Sorto, I've got the 11th gen GP66 with a mux switch with a 3070 in it, I believe. So at the very least, we'll be able to get an idea of the performance with the CPU-bound games. So let's see if we can get in this driver to install properly. Go to ICU software. What are you guys talking about? ICU app? Is Legion's keyboard better than the Scar's keyboard? I like that there's a number pad on the Legion. I like the layout of both of them, and I think they both feel good. I put them on the same class of keyboard. The Scar has a clicky feel to them, though, so I really like that. Okay, so it looks like the ICU is where we customize the lighting of the laptop. Ooh, very nice. Okay. So is the lighting on? I don't think the lighting's on. Let me try. Ah, the lighting is on now. Okay. You guys ready for this? I'm excited about it. All right. We are going to I'm gonna do a big reveal, all right? So we're gonna do full screen. All right, here we go. All right. So are you ready for it? Kaboom! This thing looks so cool. Oh man. Not gonna lie, the looks of this thing are just as good as the Scar 15, in my opinion, the Scar series. Because we got lights all the way around the sides, and then look at the sides too. We have lights coming out the vents. With my Scar 15, we've got lights underneath the display, which is I think really cool. But in this, for the Legion, we got lights coming out the vents, so that's pretty cool. And we have lights coming out the back vents too. So look at that, pretty sick. Very, very good to look at. All right, let me turn the lights back on. Ah, plus RGB equals plus 420 more FPS. Oh, yes, I can't even dispute that, right? That's just guaranteed fact. It said FN plus R changes the frame rate. Try that. So it's actually a driver issue. It wasn't the fact that because like the display was not detecting that it was an RTX 3060. So it was a software driver issue. And it looks like it's better now. Like I've got faster. Yeah, it says a G-Sync display is connected. So we do have a G-Sync display on this laptop as well. So no tearing. We shouldn't have any tearing or problems with that, which is really, really nice. G-Sync capable display. Enable G-Sync. Yes. Cool. All right, let's log in. You can cycle through the different lighting modes by pressing FN plus spacebar. Okay, so something else I want to point out about the lighting is so look at how, oh my God, the focus is like jumping around because of the movement. So it spins in a central spot, like the lighting wheel is turning right in the middle of the keyboard, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, so this, I like that a lot. Ramsey with the $5 super chat. Thanks, man. It says keep it up. Cool. All right. So yeah. So basically, it's like if you track the blue light, it'll be like going in a circle around the laptop, like it's the spinning light, which is a pretty cool way to do the lighting. I like it. Okay. Let's get into some actual tests, huh? Let's just get into some tests. We're not quite fully up to date on Windows. That's okay. So we're in performance mode right here. Okay, this is going to be higher fan speed, higher power consumption. We have our overdrive enabled. We have hybrid mode off, which is going to be our MUX switch. So that's going to be our better performance. Let's go ahead and load up our library. I'll bet inflation will make this laptop like this cost $10,000 in 3 years. I don't know about that, LOL. Are all keyboards same on Legion 5, 5 Pro, and 7 except the RGB? I don't know about that. I think there's going to be some differences. Because one's 15-inch chassis, one's 17-inch chassis. And I don't think this keyboard will fit on a 15-inch chassis. I could be wrong, though. Let's see here. Steam. Looks like I got to log in again. Will the M17R6 have the same TDP as the R4 or the R5? So I don't know that there will be an M17R6. At least the stuff that I saw, I didn't do detailed research. The M17R6 had might just be the X17. There will be an M15R6, but the 17-inch version may be replaced by. I don't know if they'll do both or not. I need to do more research on that. So I guess I don't want to say necessarily, but I haven't seen confirmation at least that there will be that laptop, that it will exist yet. If you know more information, please let me know. What do you know, chat? This or the Legion 5 Pro? I'm not sure. It's going to depend on pricing, release dates, and all of that. So when is the Legion 7 and 5 Pro being released in the US? So Christopher Studio, the Legion 7, according to the Lenovo marketing rep, said end of June, or sometime in June, near the end of June. What's the price in USD for this model? Is $16.99. And I gotta say, you're definitely paying some for the upgraded chassis because of the metal build, and then you're also paying for this cool RGB lights all over this thing. You're definitely paying some extras, and plus the high brightness display. But I think you're getting your money's worth. I feel like you're getting your money's worth at least when you spend the extra money on this thing, like on those cool features. 'Cause at least if you like RGB, and of course RGB is going to make the laptop run faster anyway. So who doesn't like RGB? If you're crazy if you don't like RGB, okay. All right, no, but I mean, if you need a laptop to go into a business environment or like a college environment, all you have to do is turn the RGB off on this thing temporarily, and they don't know that you secretly have a stealth RGB super gamer computer in your backpack. Um, Meh, it is too heavy. Yeah, so some people are going to find this thing to be too heavy, because this is definitely a bit of a heavier computer than, let's say, the Zephyrus lineup, but you are also getting a little extra performance because of the increased weight. i7 11800H benchmarks have leaked. Dun dun dun. I mean, I imagine they have, but I mean, I imagine there's people who have officially gotten their laptop like I have. Like I got the 11800H in a laptop right over there. So I don't even know that I would call it leaking when users actually have their whole machine already in hand. Okay, so we're going to show this, we're going to show that, we're going to do that. Boom, 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 boom. CPU usage, CPU clock, frame rate average, 1% low, and our frame rate. Okay, there's Afterburner, and let's get Riva. Ooh, let's see. Let's install this. Get our C++. We might need that to run this. All right, and we're gonna go 700 and a little 16 size. Yes, yes. Looks like we have to restart the computer again. Wonderbar. When will the Ryzen 5 variant come, and what will the price be? I don't know, Naaman. I don't know the. I only know that what he said about this laptop in particular, that he said it would be end of June, and that it would be $16.99 for this configuration I have here. Um, I'm sure things are subject to variation and changes, though. You know, you never know what kind of delays might happen. What do you think about the Legion in white? I love laptops in white typically, um, but I gotta say, white usually doesn't show the coolness of RGB as much. Like the dark chassis oftentimes looks better. What is the best laptop in terms of thermals? So far, the best laptop I've ever tested for thermals was the Asus Strix G17, which had like low 70s temperatures, sometimes in the 60s, with just gaming. So, and even with the stress test, the temperatures were still like the probably the best I've ever had. But that's just what I've tested. I haven't tested every laptop on the market, so there may be other laptops that are really, really good. Ultimately, what makes a laptop really good thermally is that the thermal solution is obviously really good on a laptop, so that it keeps the laptop cool. But it's also a combination with what power limits the manufacturer set. Because on that Asus Strix, that pushed very, very good temperatures. Um, it only had 115 to 130 watt power limit, but in something like the GE76 that has a 3070, they're about the same size machine, but they're pushing a higher TDP up to 140. So I would expect the temperatures to not be as good because they're also pushing a higher TDP, and when you push a higher TDP, usually you get a little bit more performance, but also higher temperatures. So it's kind of like this weird, like, yeah, anyone can really have really great temperatures if they just power limit that sucker down and basically, reduce performance. So, would you agree that single channel on gaming laptops bottlenecks the performance? Yes, it does, Lima. It definitely hinders performance. But the nice thing about single channel is that it allows budget laptops to be lower priced, which is not a bad thing. I think uh, it's important to have some options that are as cheap as possible for people on ultra budgets. Some people only work minimum wage. You gotta give them options too. And if you can save them $100 or $50, and let them upgrade it later. I think that's the big thing though, is that not everyone's going to be up for upgrading it later, and they end up buying it and they end up being gimped without realizing it, and then they never upgrade it because they don't know, and they have less performance because of it. That's the only downside. So for the informed people, single channel is not so bad because you can always pay and upgrade it yourself later. But for everyone else, the more casual people, it kind of sucks. Lenovo Legion have a serious RAM bottleneck. Source Jared's Tech. Uh, yes, a lot of manufacturers actually K1. It just depends. Like the Asus laptops that I tested also had improved performance with third-party RAM. I did do a test on it as well a couple months, 2 or 3 months ago, and saw big performance gains when I upgraded the RAM. And I couldn't figure out exactly why, but I believe Jared's investigation into the RAM timings is the solution, is the same reason why. So, but yeah, having RAM with tight timings can improve your performance, especially in memory sensitive and CPU bound games. What dual rank RAM do I recommend for the Legion as an upgrade? Christopher, the same RAM I tested for the Strix lineup will probably work just fine for the Lenovo laptops as well. Though they should be compatible. So check out my RAM comparison video that I did a couple months ago. Just look for my video feed, and you can find it, and then you can look at the comparison there and get a good idea of the performance gains that can be had. And I think you're going to have those same performance gains in this laptop as well, or at least very similar, not identical, but I would say the game to test would be Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And if you're getting below average performance, that's when you know that you probably want to do a RAM upgrade. Hey Gizmo, any AMD 6000 series laptops coming out? No. 5000 series just came out, and as far as I know, there's no plan to release the 6000 series anytime soon. Any idea how many watts the 3080 is in the GP66? I believe it's at least 130 watt. Let me check. I should be able to. I want to check this. There we go. If I go here, you guys can see me as I check this. Someone wanted to know what the power limit of the GP66 is. Right now, MSI is listing their power limits on their website. So if I go over to the GP66 Leopard, Intel 11th gen, and I go to configurations, you can see it's 130 watt right here. There you go. 130 watt. Where the GE66 was 135 watt, I believe, this time. So, but if you're curious about what MSI TDP is, that's the place to look for right now. Or my spreadsheet, I'm adding it to my spreadsheet as well. So, speaking of spreadsheets, let's just go over that real quick. So I've created a RTX 3000 spreadsheet. Let me pull that up. So this will allow you to shop around and compare between different laptops very easily around whatever price point you have. So that was kind of like the whole idea behind it, is that this will allow you to quickly shop around. So um, right down here in my main list, you can see that I've basically every laptop that you can buy with an RTX 3000 that I know of, but I haven't been looking as closely the last week or two. I need to go through and just make sure I've got it all in here. But I've basically added in all of the laptops, and it's sorted by price. So if let's say you got a price point of $1,300 that you want to shop for a laptop, you can look in the $1,300 price range, which is right around here, or like the $2,000 price range. You can look around here. And then I have the Cinebench and Timespy score for every laptop that I can find, and I have linked to the original source as well for all of the various benchmarks that I've found, because some of them are not my own, because I can't test every laptop ever, obviously. And some of these are going to be estimated based on what TDP it has or what a very similar unit put out. And then I'll put estimated EST right here next to the value if it's estimated versus real. And sometimes I'll still link to a similar one and still call it an estimate if it's like a link to a similar TDP item or a sister laptop to that one that has the same exact GPU configuration or whatever. So this will give you a good rough idea of the performance you can expect, but know that it's going to vary from game to game. Timespy is not a perfect test. Okay, all of that said, let's get back to testing the Legion 7. So know that that link is in the video description down below if you want to check it out. And I hope you find it helpful. And know that some of the links on there does go to help support me as a creator. So thank you very much. If you end up buying a laptop, or if you decide to buy a laptop, you can support me by buying it through the links in that sheet. Or at least some of them, because I include affiliated links and non-affiliated links because I want to be as helpful as possible. So yeah. Okay. So we managed to uninstall antivirus. We need to turn off this, boom, boom. Now we go back into 3D Mark again. What are your thoughts on the Acer Nitro 5? I bought one for gaming. So I did a review on the Nitro 5 Shaku. You can check it out on my channel. I do like the Acer Nitro 5, but only if you get the right configuration, because some of the configurations are either too expensive or they don't include a powerful enough GPU. So, but I like, for example, I saw over Christmas, like Black Friday and Christmas deals, I saw $800 Acer Nitro 5s with an RTX 2060 and 144 hertz display, with like an i5 quad core processor, which is okay, but obviously nothing amazing. But it was like crazy good deal for 800 bucks. Honestly, it's a deal it's hard to beat even now. I think like it's very competitive deals that we have now. So when you can get one of those, crazy good. But some of them are not as good. Just depends. Especially considering some of the new, I think the new Acer Nitro 5 may not be priced as competitively as before. Um, so I think you just got to take the Nitro 5 with a grain of salt on a configuration by configuration basis with a loadout. Just depending on that laptop's loadout and everything. I want to make sure that we have our power options in Windows set to, so we're in performance mode. It doesn't even give me a slider here. Okay, and then Afterburner is on. This is on. Everything's on. Okay. Let's run this Timespy again. Here we go. Here we go. All right. What about the GF63? So the GF63 is last year's version of the GF65 thin, right? Could be a decent option. All comes down to price to performance for how much you're paying for what you get. 150 watt versus 130 watt 3080. How much of a difference? Pretty substantial, Jamie. The 3080 really likes having 150 plus watts of power because there's so many CUDA cores in that thing. So when you can push 150 plus to 165 watts in a 3080, you will have a pretty noticeable bump in performance. Like my SCAR 15 with 130 watts scores 11,400 in Timespy with a slight overclock. And with like the RTX 3080 150 watt in the GE76, you score like 12,700 or so. So it's like a 10% increase, approximately. And that difference in performance will carry out pretty well in a lot of the games too. Okay, so taking a look at what we got here, 127 watts right now on the GPU, 1860 on the boost clock. That's really high boost clock for a 3060. Like this is the highest I've seen so far on a 3060. So very, very nice. Shelby Peterson, I bought the Scar 15. It came with dead pixels. Just got it back today after owning it for 2 months. LOL. Bought after your review using the spreadsheet. Hope you got a credit for it. LOL. I probably did, but if you get returned it, I probably won't get paid for that because I actually don't get any. When you guys, if you guys do use the affiliate links, it takes like 6 months for me to get any kind of support. Like the actual affiliates take like 6 months to go through. So they have to take into account for when people return things too. But it's okay. I mean, if you need to, if no pressure to buy anything, guys. Like, I just buy whenever you feel like you found a laptop that you're gonna love, and that's my best advice. Shop around, and once you've found one that you love, you think you're gonna really enjoy, and last you a while, that's when I think it's worth buying. You know. So, and if you've got one already that's good, don't feel like you have to switch it out. Though I'm obsessed with laptops, so I constantly switch switch mine. So I don't really listen to that advice myself. But can you add CPU temps? Yeah, Ninja Designs. It for some reason the CPU temps are not coming up with Afterburner, so I have to use HW info. Those CPU temperatures in Timespy should be extremely low because we're only using 24% of the CPU right here. CPU temps will matter more when we switch over to like Cyberpunk or other games. Will you get the 3080 version of this laptop for review? I would love to get a 3080 version of this laptop, but it's just up to Lenovo to send me one. So we'll see. I want to buy a laptop nearly $3,500 for coding and gaming. Suggest me some. Okay, so I told you I would suggest you some. Let me just pop down. So $3,500 coding and gaming. Zephyrus Duo 15, great option. It's actually $3,700, so a little bit out of your budget. If you want something, so that's a 15-inch. The nice thing about the Duo 15, if you're doing coding, is that you have two displays, so you can see more code, and you might even be able to like run the game or run whatever application in one display while you are typing code in the other display. So I think that would be a really good one for coding. Um, Another thing I think for coding is you want to have a numpad, ideally. So a 17-inch display, QHD would be the other way to go. Look at that, 8976 for our overall score and our graphics score. Awesome. So CPU score was 8976, 77, and 8976 for our graphics score. That's truly excellent. Um, So if you want some cheaper options, like I don't think you have to spend $3,500 for a coding laptop. Cheaper options would be, and options you could actually buy right now. GP66, GP76 would be like great mid-range options. GE76, I think, is another great option. Um, the Aorus 17G, great option. But if you've got 3,500, I would go with the Duo. That's me. Okay. But I love this. All right, so overall, so moving on. I don't want to get too wrapped up in my. I love suggesting laptops to people. I don't know. I just enjoy it. Um, okay, 8976. Really, really good score for this laptop. This is the highest score we have seen so far for a 3060. That said, if this laptop costs $1,700, like the Lenovo rep said, our price to performance ratio is not. It's not exceptionally high. This is still really great performance for a 3060, though. Okay. Um, what I would love to see is what kind of performance we're going to get and what kind of TDPs we're going to see with 3070 and 3080 models as well. Because if I believe we're going to be able to go above 130 watts with those GPUs in this chassis. So pretty awesome. Okay. Next up, we are going to get Cyberpunk installing. Cyberpunk 2077. Very nice. Now, a lot of you guys are requesting different games. We will be testing a bunch of different games in an upcoming live stream. So be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on those. Tonight, we're just going to be doing Cyberpunk, and then we're also going to do Cinebench R20. And then that'll give us a good idea for the CPU performance as well. Now, let me go ahead and pause this and just run our Cinebench R20 real quick, so we can get that done as well. And let's pull up. Okay, this is going to be an invalid run. Let me pull up HW info as well. The 3080 should be 115 watts with a 15-watt dynamic boost. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm thinking this laptop is going to really shine is with a 3080, but it's going to be very pricey, I imagine, probably $2,500 plus. Are you going to try Apex as well? In the live stream, I will for the benchmarks, but not tonight. Hey guys, do you think the Lenovo 5 Pro is the best price to performance for 3070 laptops under 2000? Probably not. Uh, Depends on the pricing. We don't know the exact pricing in the US yet, so but I it's going to be close. I think it'll be very competitive with the best. We will be doing Fortnite in the live stream when I do the live benchmarking. The reason I take a break and then come back and do the benchmarking in a separate video is because it takes like 8 hours for me to download all the games for the benchmark. Because I download like 10 different games. It's a lot. Okay, so taking a look at our temperatures while we're running, starting off here, we're at 84 degrees pretty quickly, but the fans probably still need to ramp up. We're pulling 80.3 watts of power. Very good. Very good TDP on the CPU so far. Initial boost is great. Let's see if it can maintain this and also see what kind of temperatures it maintains over the long haul, as we run it several times in a row. How can I take that test you just did? So if you want to do the 3D Mark test, you can download 3D Mark through Steam. I believe it costs like 20 bucks or something like that. And I believe you can also run 3D Mark once per laptop or once per email or something like that for free. So 49.38 for our first run. That's excellent, especially for a 5800H. So let's see what we can get when we run it back to back to back. So we're at 91 degrees right now. Kind of just get a bit closer here. 91.1. Let's see if we start thermal throttling at all. So far, no thermal throttling at all. And so what I do typically for running these tests is I run them several times, and then I start taking an average of 5. That's what I'll do in the live benchmark. But for right now, we're just going to run this a few times and get a rough idea of the performance. Why not get a 1 terabyte external SSD for games? I do plan on doing that. But even if you do that, it'll still take a couple hours to install them all, because even if you have them downloaded, games are constantly being updated, and anytime you have to install it, the computer has to go through and recognize all of the game files too. 4967, again, excellent performance from the CPU. Let's just see how it does with, let's say, 2 more runs. So just because we want to see if it's going to thermal throttle at all. Like, it kind of worries me a little bit that we're getting such high temperatures just running Cinebench, but 92 degrees Celsius. This is definitely on the spicier side, and I could pretty much guarantee you that if you were to run this with a game running at the same time, we're not going to be able to push this kind of TDP. We're not going to be able to push 80 watts, which, you know, this is like a CPU only TDP load. This is pretty typical for most gaming laptops. Is 90 degrees Celsius dangerous? No, it's not going to hurt the computer. But at 95 degrees, typically manufacturers will start thermal throttling the CPU. So what you end up getting is just reduced performance, you know, when you get your temperatures too high. So, and keep in mind, I'm testing this at like a 73 degrees Celsius room temp. So if you're in like a tropical environment and your internal house temperature is like 90 degrees Fahrenheit, you're gonna have worse thermals than what I have in this air-conditioned house. Question, is the keyboard warm? Right now, the keyboard is not warm except in the upper middle, like up by the T and Y, 7, 8, you know, kind of like near the power button in the middle, kind of that's kind of a little bit warmer. But everywhere else is like the wrist rests and the WASD keys, they're not really warm at all. They're not warming up. But oftentimes for a keyboard deck to warm up, you have to give the machine, you know, a bit longer, and typically you need to run a GPU and CPU load to see what kind of temperature the keyboard deck gets to. So we're pushing up to 93 degrees Celsius. So definitely getting some higher temperatures, and I'm curious if there's not a way to set max fans. So this is silent mode, auto mode, performance mode. So we managed to get 5,021. That's very good. Very good for a 5800H. Good job, Lenovo. You're getting good CPU performance. We're getting excellent GPU performance from the 3060. Let's get Cyberpunk going again. And then let me just field some questions, and we can take a look at the spreadsheet and look at some laptops that are comparable to this one that you might want to also consider. So can you undervolt this laptop? Yes, you can undervolt the GPU, but not the CPU. At least as of right now, you cannot. What do you think of the 11th gen Intel laptops? I think, so check out my recent video, Filippo. I do go over those. But I think they're going to be really good for gaming, probably the best for gaming, but I don't think they're going to be that much better for multi-core rendering than the 10th gen. Though they could surprise me, but from what I've seen, they're going to be pretty similar to the 10th gen for multi-core rendering. And the reason for this is the new architecture should be optimized for gaming really, really well, but then not really, it's not going to be able to boost and maintain higher clock speeds for multi-core rendering, and you're not getting any more cores than you did before. So yeah, and because it's going to be a little bit faster though. They're, you know, probably like 10% faster, but that's my guess. 10% faster for multi-core than the 10th gen, and probably about 5 to 10% faster for gaming. But we'll see. We'll find out tomorrow, right? GP66 live stream tomorrow. So wait for the official review. Yeah, I don't want to say exactly what it's going to be because there's no way to know exactly what it's going to be right now, right? Okay, so here we are. Let's talk, what are some competitive laptops right around the $1,700 price point that you could consider instead of this one, or maybe, you know, as like when you're comparing the rough performance, right? So if the Legion 7 is 9,000 Cinebench, let's see here, let's find a laptop that's around $1,700 and 9,000. So yeah, you're looking at about 100, like a little bit less performance than a 100-watt 3070 in this laptop. So some other options around this price point would be getting like Alienware M17R4 with a 3060 Max P. Should be very similar performance. What other good options are there? We got the Omen 15Z with a 5900 HX and a 3070. And that's going to be very, very close in terms of price and performance. So that's another option. We've got the Alienware M15R5, which would be another pretty good option. Let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see this a little bit better. So Alienware M15R5 with the Ryzen 7 5800H. It's basically the same specs or very similar specs to this one, but we do get a 360 hertz full HD display, and it's a 15-inch chassis. But the price is also very similar. So, when you compare something like this Alienware M15R5 to this one, you're getting similar, probably similar CPU and GPU performance, but a very different display. Like this is a QHD display. That's a 360 hertz full HD display. So I think that's one of the most important things to consider. And one of the reasons really to consider the Legion 7 is if you like a 16 by 10 aspect ratio and you want that QHD display with a high brightness. And I do think a display is very important. So, I think this M15R5 is going to be very, very good for people that want to play competitive esports games. I mean, the Legion 7 will also be good for that, but I think that having a 360 hertz display is going to be a bit better. Not by a lot, but by a noticeable margin for people that are very competitive. The M15R5 does have a QHD option as well. Nice. So you do have some flexibility. Like at least let me make sure. Let me go and take a look. Because when I checked it, I didn't think it had a QHD option. So this only has a 1080p option, but maybe if I go back to over here, so we've got a 3060 here. We got a 3070 here. So if you want the 3070, it'll cost you 1861. They don't talk about the displays on these. But let's check out maybe the 3070 version will have a QHD display option. Yes. Okay, so the QHD 240 hertz. That's also very, very nice. So you get a nice blend of resolution and high refresh rate with this option. So definitely one to consider. That price will run you 1940. So pretty expensive, um, but also, you're getting some noticeable improvements. You get the 3070, you get a 240 hertz display. You probably don't have as high a brightness though, and it's not 16 by 10. So if those are things you care about, then you might want to consider some other things. Now, someone was also talking about coding. I think a 16 by 10 aspect ratio display would be excellent for coding. Um, So, because the 16 by 10 allows you to see just more vertical space. Any type of document work, and so you're writing things, you're working in spreadsheets. That's when a 16 by 10 aspect ratio is really nice. You're browsing the web a lot. Honestly, gaming on a 16 by 10 can be good and bad depending on um, it depends on what type of game you're playing. Um, I know, for example, in Fortnite, some people would prefer to play in like the squashed view because it allows you to see more FOV. But in other games like Black Desert Online, you want more wide angle field of view. So people actually do the reverse thing and make it narrower so you can see a wider angle of view to see more around you. So it's pretty pretty interesting. It depends on which game you're playing, whether you want to have 16 by 9 or 16 by 10 as the optimal um, aspect ratio. Okay, so another really good option, I think one of the best options right now on the market is this Strix Scar 15 with the 3080 up to 130 watt for $2,000. And I've seen this come in stock a couple times in um, the last couple weeks. This has come into stock twice, I think. And this is probably my number one pick out of all laptops right now for the best overall price to performance package ratio and portability. Um, just all around, this is a really, really good $2,000 for a high TDP 3080. So really, really like that one. Oh, and this, I need to change this. Okay. I'm not on the right account to make any edits here. That's fine. Um, but yeah, so there's a link to this spreadsheet in the video description down below. I definitely think this Legion 7 is really, really good, but I think there's also really strong contenders to compare it with. And so I'm really curious what you guys think. What do you guys think about this? The Legion 7 pros and cons. Let me hear it in the description. Or let me hear what you guys think, chat. Recommend a gaming laptop with the best battery life. Jessica, I would recommend probably like the Zephyrus G14, G15. The Zephyrus G14 had absurd battery life. Um, the G15 should be good. Almost all of the new Ryzen 5000 with switchable graphics will be good. Um, should I wear it for the Alienware X series or go for the Duo 15? Well, the X series is a 17-inch laptop, so um, that's up to you. But the Duo 15 is definitely like a different size of laptop than the Alienware X 17. The Strix G17 still top #1 most bought and sold out everywhere. Um, I don't know if it's the most bought, but it is sold out everywhere. And I say that it might not be the most bought because just because it's sold out doesn't mean they're actually moving as many units as another laptop that's not selling out as much. It's just because that laptop that's not sold out is actually being sold nonstop, because it's actually in stock so people can buy it. The Legion 7 seems like a very solid laptop in general, and having G-Sync alone should help it out. Um, doesn't matter for 32 gig RAM, silly. Only certain games matter for 32 gigs of RAM. Very few games. Is the Scar 15 or 17 better for Valorant? They're both going to be great for Valorant and be able to maximize their 165 hertz QHD display, but neither of them will be able to push 300 FPS in Valorant, though. So just keep that in mind because they don't have a mux switch. Best Buy needs more stock. Yeah, Best Buy. Yeah, Best Buy. It'd be great if Best Buy could get some more stock on certain laptops. Um, Please reply, I am planning to buy a 15-inch gaming laptop with a full 3070, which has the best thermals. So I'd probably recommend the GP66 right now as one of my top ones, at least that are in stock. Another one would be the Strix G15 or the Scar 15. Like I said, I think my top recommended right now would be that Scar 15 with an RTX 3080 for 2000. That should be a really great blend of thermals, portability, battery life, massive gaming performance, all at a very reasonable price. Okay. HP Omen 15Z 3070 versus GP66 3070. Which one is better for coding and gaming? The GP66 will be better for at least gaming. They'll both be about the same for coding, but it's just going to depend on, neither of them have a number pad. So if you need a number pad, you'll have to go with a different laptop, actually. You could go with the GP76. But the GP66 has a higher TDP GPU. That's why I'm saying to get the GP66. Um, if I buy Scar 15 300 hertz for Valorant, then so like you'll still get great performance in Valorant at 300. You're not going to hit the 300 hertz, but you'll still get great performance, like over 200, and it'll be extremely smooth. Um, but if you want to have the maximum performance in Valorant, then you get a laptop with a mux switch. You can push close to 300 or be above 300 almost all the time. Hey Gizmo, do you think the new Legion 7i will benefit from the PCIe Gen 4 SSD and GPU combined with Intel 11th Gen? Would it improve performance in AAA games? Big up from France. I'm not sure, Sam. I don't think it would be a big difference because I don't think that we're being bottlenecked by our PCIe lanes very much, aside from maybe the NVIDIA Optimus bottleneck might be not as big a deal on 11th Gen laptops, but we'll have to see. We're going to need to do some tests with 11th Gen laptops. The mux switch might not be as necessary with 11th Gen, is basically what we might see. So we'll see. Can you see a difference between 165 hertz and 240 hertz? I can. So K1 says no Cyberpunk. No, we are doing Cyberpunk. It's just it's downloading right now. See? Well, it was downloading until I switched back over here. It just slowed down for some reason. But we were downloading at 58 megabytes a second, and now we're doing 10. Okay, so it's coming back up again. 6, 17. Some reason it slowed down. But we're about halfway done downloading Cyberpunk. I'm just answering questions for a few minutes, basically, right now. So 165 hertz versus 240 hertz. Yes, I can see a difference, but it's very minor. So if you have a really high response rate, 165 hertz, um, unless you're an extremely competitive player, you will not make much of a difference. I think a bigger difference will matter is if you are getting smooth performance with your machine. Like if you're getting stutters, that'll affect you a lot more than if you are seeing 165 versus 240, because your 1% FPS low when you get a stutter will be much more jarring and annoying and mess up your aim more. So you just really want to have a smooth running system. So yeah. The Ryzen 9 5000 series overall is performing better than the Intel i9 11th gen. I think in multi-core performance, I would say that's going to be the case, UK Skid, based on what we've seen from what Intel released during their PR announcement. But for gaming performance, I anticipate Intel 11th gen to do really, really well and possibly beat the Ryzen series, but we'll see. What does Gizmo slip mean? It means Gizmo falling out of your hand like a technology device slipping, because my main channel is where I test devices falling to the ground in drop tests. 11th gen GP66 or Lenovo 5 Pro, both 3070. Which one would you recommend? I think they're both going to be really great laptops, Andrew. I think it's going to come down to which design you like better, which what you value, what the price of each laptop is. Like you can buy the GP66 right now. Um, at least in the United States, you can't buy the Lenovo 5 Pro right now. So if you need a laptop now versus if you can wait, that'll make a big difference. Would you recommend the GP66 3080 over the 3070? Um, like the nice thing about the GP66 3080 is that the price is not extreme. It's not like $2,700, $2,800 like some of the 3080s. I think it's $2,399. So that's more reasonable, but it's not great pricing overall. I'll say that much. Um, And in general, I do recommend getting a 150 watt G. If you're going to go with a 3080, I do recommend if you can get a 150 watt version. Unless the price is right for the 3080, 130 watt or 115 watt. If the price is right, like the Strix Scar 15, that's $2,000. That the price is right on that. That's a great price. And so I can highly recommend that one, even though it's 130 watt 3080, because the value is there. Um, like if that laptop was $2,500, then it would be an okay deal, not an insanely good deal. Laptop drop test? No. I actually did a laptop drop test for one company. I'm not going to say which one, but I did it and it broke and the company was like, "Okay, don't post the video." Is the 1% low really important? If yes, then why? So 1% lows, um, if your 1% low is low, like let's say you're averaging 200 FPS, but your 1% low is only 50 FPS. Then what that means is the laptop is struggling to hit the high frame rate constantly. So you're going to be running into little stutters in your gameplay, which will interrupt you. You know, it's going to prevent you from enjoying your gameplay as much, and it's going to prevent you from aiming consistently because there'll be like a little moment where it's going to be like your cursor is going to jump, and you can't track your target. So little stutters like that, if they happen too often, really can annoy you as a gamer, right? So Lenovo Legion 7 3080 versus Strix G17 3070 for VR gaming on an Oculus. What do I recommend? So the price of a Legion 7 3080 is going to be a lot more than the Strix G17 3070. You're going to have to pay more money for that. But the Legion 7 3080 should be better because it should be a higher TDP GPU, but it's also going to cost you more money. So you're basically going to pay for what you get on that one, Dan et al. Performance-wise, 130 watt 3070 and 130 watt 3080 should be similar, right? They're not similar. There is a difference. It's about a 7 or 8% difference, though. It's not big. The difference between 130 watt 3070 and 150 watt 3080, though, is bigger. It's more like 15 to 20%. So just know that if you get a 3080, shoot for 150 watts if you can. Thoughts on Alienware laptops? I think they're good. DJ Rocketman. I think they're good. Is the keyboard for a Duo 15 comfortable? Um, Depends. I have not actually tried one myself, but I've tried similar laptops. Having the keyboard in the front it takes a bit of getting used to because you have to hold the laptop further back in your lap. But on like a table or a desk or something, I don't think it matters as much. Looks like our Wi-Fi slowed down again. Wonder what's going on there. Okay, it's downloading again. Interesting. Bit weird. Between the Strix G15 and the Legion 7, which one would you suggest? I think it's going to come down to what you're getting in each of the laptops. Um, I think the Strix series might be a little bit cheaper than the Legion 7 series. So if the price is better on the Strix, then that'd probably be the way I'd lean on my recommendation. But it all comes down to price performance for me. Both of those laptops are going to be really awesome, high TDP, great gaming laptops. So I can definitely recommend both of them. I think that's going to come down to like pricing, availability, um, and especially if you need a mux switch, the Legion lineup has a mux switch where the Strix lineup does not. So if you're a competitive esports gamer, then the Legion is probably going to have an advantage. Is there a significant difference between a Legion 7 keyboard and other laptops in the category? Um, uh, the difference, I think, is more just the layout. Each laptop has its own unique layout, and the I think the key to keep in mind is if you need a number pad is probably the biggest difference between the laptop keyboards. But the feel of the keyboards, a lot of the laptops this year have been great. Very few bad keyboards. Jackie Lee, I'm sorry I have to go, but great streaming. Thanks, man. Thanks for stopping by. Legion 7 3070 versus 5 Pro 3070. Which one should I go for? I think it's going to come down to more design, keyboard, display size, and all of that, Deadshot, and pricing. So um, you're going to have to, we're going to have to wait and see what the actual real configurations look like before we can decide, before I can make hard recommendations like that. Have you tested VR with the Oculus on the Strix G17 3070? How does it run? It'll run really well, Dan. It'll play almost all of the games with virtual desktop streaming, no problem, at high resolution, like with Steam VR. Like I've used my Strix Scar 15 with the 3080 to play a ton of games with virtual desktop in Steam VR. Elite Dangerous, Beat Saber. Um, what are the VR games I've been playing? I have to look at my VR game list. But Elite Dangerous is my biggest VR game lately. I've been playing it like crazy, or at least I was. Not playing it as much lately. Looks like we're almost done downloading. 57 gigs out of 59, so we're like 90 plus percent. Um, but yeah, you're going to be able to play almost all your VR games with the Strix G17 3070. Is the Zephyrus S17 Intel 10th Gen 2070 Super still relevant against new laptops cost-wise? Yes, it is. But think of it kind of like as competitive with like 3060 laptops, you know? Don't think of it, so you got to compare it with like, okay, this 3060 will be about as powerful as the 2070 Super. You know, like a high TDP 3060 and a high TDP 2070 Super should be pretty comparable. Okay, it looks like it finished. We're downloading. We're updating. Loading up the game. Do you know the cheapest 150 watt 3080 laptop? Probably the Alienware M17 R4 or the GE76. There's only a handful of 3080s that are 150 watts. So you have I think you have the GP76 will have that same TDP as the GE76. That might be the cheapest whenever that, if you can find it. I've only found the 3070 version of that available. So, um, but that'll probably be the cheapest whenever we can get our hands on it. Or maybe no. Yeah. Maybe there's some Clevo laptop that can be technically configured cheaper. I don't know. I'd have to do more research, but I'm pretty sure that the GE76 or the GE76 or the Alienware M17 are the best ones with the 150 watt TDP. And the Legion 7 will have that eventually. Not sure what the pricing will be though. The GE76. After all the updates, is Cyberpunk that optimized, or is it a good stress test game? I don't think it's that optimized still. They've definitely made some improvements and removed a bunch of bugs, but I don't think it's particularly optimized. I like testing it because it's full RTX and DLSS, and I think a lot of people want to see it because this is kind of like what a lot of the future games will be like. That's the main reason why I test with it. Okay, so we're going to test it on balanced, RTX on Ultra, everything else on Ultra. We're going to go full screen, 2560 by 1600. Very nice. Let's check it out. Oh, and let's get our CPU temperatures. CPU temperatures. Okay. Right here, right? This is what we need. 77 degrees right here. Okay, cool. Wait, where are we at? Okay, so this is at the end of that. I wonder if we're gonna even be able to play this. Because this is a 3060, right? This is gonna be a bit challenging to run this game on ultra settings with RTX QHD. This might be a bit of a challenge. Might have to swap this down to 1080p. Let's be real, right? Maybe it'll be playable. Let's find out. Here we go. Okay. 32 FPS so far. And keep in mind, this is also like, what is it? Like it's the 2560 by 1600. So it's actually a little bit higher than QHD. What's the best laptop if you're on a budget? It all depends on what your budget is, John. Um, I think something like the Gigabyte G5 with the 3060 is probably close to the very best bang for the buck still. Aware when the X series is going to come to the market? I don't know. Typically speaking, they'll give us like a 2 or 3 week pre-order period before they actually release it. So pretty safe to say, probably not in the next 2 weeks unless it's exactly 2 weeks out. Okay, so we're at 32 by 25. So 32 average, 25 FPS on our 1% lows. So it's still pretty playable, but it's not the smoothest experience. If I was optimizing this, like, and I was playing it, I'd probably try performance mode next, just to see what that's like. Okay. Wait, did something else change? Because we should have gotten better performance, not worse. Because we're definitely getting worse performance now. Only 18 FPS. That's weird. Um, ultra performance. 20, 28 FPS. Let's see if I can see if the visual artifacts from DLSS. Yeah, I can kind of see. So I think we are getting. It is on. But it's interesting because it's like worse than it was. Let's try going back to balanced again. Does it go back up? No, it's even worse. Interesting. Okay, so it must be just like a little bit harder to run right after we get through that section or something. So let's try ultra performance and see what we get. Ooh, ultra performance. We're getting smooth frame rates. It's playable again. 35. Um, Something's going on. I think. Oh, our TDP on the GPU is dropping. 103 watts. Would I go 17-inch Full HD or 15-inch OLED? I think that depends on if you like OLED or not. Not everyone's going to value that. So you can see that we're only pushing 102 watts of power to the GPU. So we're not pushing the full 130 watts anymore. Are we in full performance mode still? Yeah, we're still in performance mode. But I think we were getting some kind of a bit of something was bugging out a little bit there because we were getting very low FPS. Oh, and we're not on the right spot. There we go. But we're getting great performance now. Like I feel like there was some kind of I'd have to rewatch the stream, but I'm pretty sure we've seen some kind of dipping going on here. Let me because it's like hard to see unless you're actually paying really close attention to it. So checking it out. Yeah, so back when it was stuttering on the 18 FPS or whatever, we were only pulling 70 watts for some reason on the GPU. So something weird was going on. Something was bugging out. That's why we had those FPS drops. Everything's going pretty smooth now. So we're getting our TDP drop for some reason. Not sure what's going on there. I need to update the firmware. That's the first thing I see. Whenever I see something like this, I go, okay, I should update the drivers and firmware to make sure that we have maximum possible performance. Okay, so we're actually getting up to 48 FPS now that we're on the street. And keep in mind, this is, like I said, 2560 by 1600 with RTX on Ultra and DLSS on, now we're on Ultra Performance. So, I mean, it still looks very good. When you're running QHD with Ultra Performance on this small of a screen, you don't really see much artifacting from all the stuff that goes on. All right, let's try switching to a new area of the world. Do some combat action. I believe this is the load-in spot. Okay. 3070 is for demanding AAA. 3070 is 35% faster than a 3060 at least. I don't know about that. I don't think so, actually, Robotic. If they're at the same TDP level, a 3070 will be a lot, not that big of a gap. Probably more like 15 to 20% at the same TDP. So it'll just depend. But like right now, see, look at this. We're getting really good FPS now, 50. Let's do a new average. See what we get through this combat section. Very good performance so far. Gameplay is very smooth. Very minimal stutters. You see our 1% low is only 36 FPS. So that means that even our like the lowest FPS that we're getting is still very reasonably playable. Oh boy. I almost died. Yeah, I mean, this is still very good. I think for a 3060, this is going to be, this is a very, very good performance for a 3060. Okay, and especially considering this is QHD, okay? QHD. All right, now if we were to tweak the settings around, let's just say we drop out of QHD. Let me see what that looks like. So 1912 by 1200, okay? And for our graphics, let's just set our DLSS back to quality. What does this look like now? So this is going to prevent any artifacting from happening. And we're getting about the same FPS as we were getting, actually maybe a little bit less than we were getting with the QHD with DLSS on Ultra Performance. So I think we were averaging over 40 with QHD Ultra Performance. Let's try loading into the desert, some desert combat action. Have I tried Sager laptops? I used to own a giant Sager laptop that was like 13 pounds. That had 6-core desktop CPU like 7 years ago. I love that laptop. Um, it's actually, I sold it to Darren, and Darren still has it in the garage downstairs. I don't think it works anymore. I think the like it's not booting on anymore, so I think the probably the motherboard is fried on it now. Probably the VRMs if I were to guess. So we're getting definitely playable frame rates on ultra settings, RTX, DLSS, and quality, 1200. And again, let's try switching it back to the way I set it up before, because that's probably the way I would run the game if I was running it myself. This is like on this hardware, this is what I would do, ultra performance at QHD resolution. And yeah, we're getting much smoother FPS up to 50. We're over 50 now out here in the open. And I can definitely notice an improvement in my ability to aim. That's the power of DLSS, and that's why DLSS is the future of gaming, especially as we improve it and make it better. You should run 3060 at 1080p, not 1600p. Well, I mean, I think it's running better now than we were running before. And we have RTX on Ultra still. Like I think like if I was playing this game, this is what I would play it at. Because it's smooth enough to aim well, looks great. We have RTX up. The 1% low is really, really good. Oh crap. I forgot to fight them. Ah, do I have to shoot that or I don't know. It's whatever. Cool. All right. That's a good test of the game. Let's go drive around for a moment, okay? That'll be the last test. Is we'll go driving. What are my ambient temperatures? 73 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's what I test with. Get my AC right around 73. Can you try the built-in overclock from the BIOS? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Can I drive this? I don't think I can drive that. This looks like a sweet ride. They ran away. Okay, I'll take you the ride. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're definitely getting lower 1% lows, but let's just go and restart it because I don't think the 1% lows were valid there. So we have cops chasing us now. What is this? What? Okay, so we're getting definitely very smooth frame rates. 1600p. 2560 by 1600, ultra settings, RTX on ultra, DLSS on ultra performance. Like I said, this is probably how I'd play the game. Up to you guys, though. You can definitely optimize this game to play it however you'd like. Cool. All right. I think that's it for the. It's going to be it for the stream. Let me see if there's any other questions in the last second here before I end it. I believe this will be it. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be streaming again with this laptop in a few days. I'm going to do the GP66 Leopard tomorrow unboxing, very similar to this one. And then I've got the Alienware M15R5, which I'll be doing the day after that. At least that's my goal right now, unless I get caught up with other stuff. And then I'll be doing the live benchmarking for the Legion 7. So that's kind of like my order. And I've got the Omen 15Z and the GE76. I also want to get those reviews done, but I've got so much to do. It's very challenging getting everything done. What time is the GP66 review? I'm not sure, Jose. I will be doing the live streams tomorrow, sometime afternoon, evening time, PST. So yeah. So just have your notifications ready, are on, so that you know when I go live. Showcase built-in overclock, please. I'm not sure, Robotic Venom, where to go for that. Is it? You're saying it's in the BIOS? I would like to check this out because I mean this should I believe the performance mode is going to have some nature of overclock, but if there's because performance mode has like this, that's the way to describe it. Do I think RDNA 2 laptops will be competitive? I think they'll probably be competitive with the lower end. It's in the easy BIOS option. Do I need to load into the BIOS for this? So let's see here. So we've got to do a restart. Let's see here. Okay. So let me see if we can load into the BIOS and see what you're talking about. Because this does sound like something you really, really want to see, and I'm happy to try to help you out. Okay. I'm pressing F2 and delete, depends on which laptop. I might need to press F8 to get into the BIOS. Okay. I'm in the BIOS. I am not really seeing anything here. Where is this supposed to be? Overclocking. That's probably what you're looking for, huh? GPU overclocking. Enable or disable? Ooh. Enable. Enable or disable advanced overclocking. Uh-huh. Enable. Okay. Oh, here we go. So we can set our GPU clock offset and VRAM offset. So I can do up to 300 and up to 150. But I think let's just run the defaults and we'll try running Timespy. Okay. 100 and 200. See if that's stable or not. All right. Improper settings of overclock may lead to irreversible hardware damage. Do the following if you encounter. Press and hold the power button for 8 to 15 seconds to restart the computer and restore default parameters. Okay, so if you need to restart and set everything back to default, you just hold the power button for 15 seconds. Use the restore default overclocking toggle in BIOS settings to restore default Parameters. Save. BIOS can be upgraded. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely want to upgrade the BIOS in this thing, and we would want to before I do my live benchmarking, need to upgrade the BIOS and make sure the firmware is up to date. All the Windows updates, obviously, as well. GPU advanced overclocking. Yeah, it's pretty funny. If you have to pick one between the Alienware Area 51M R2 versus the Alienware M17 R4, which one would I pick? Unless you need massive CPU performance from a desktop CPU, go with the Alienware M17 R4. It's thinner, it's lighter, it's going to provide more GPU performance. If you're just after pure gaming performance, that's the way to go. Okay, let's run Timespy and see if we have any improvement. Is AMD good for programming and coding? Yes, should be good. Are laptop fans something to be concerned about? Can you game with them running at 100% for longer periods of time? Yes, you can. And if you need to replace them, usually laptop fans are replaceable separately. So if they go out at some point, let's say after 2 or 3 years of gaming, they start clicking or making noise or whatever, you can usually replace them. So without having to replace the whole motherboard or anything. So, and usually a repair with the laptop fan is much cheaper than having to replace the whole motherboard and other stuff. So, what games use 10 cores? Call of Duty Warzone would be one. Battlefield 5 would be another. Yeah, basically games that are really optimized for multi-core only. Should I go for a 3060 75 watt or a 2070 115 watt? Well, I mean, if you can get a thicker laptop, they can go up to 115 watts, and I would just go with a 3060 115 watt. Khalid? I mean, maybe unless you have just very limited options, I guess. I'll see overclocking now in here. I'll take a peek in here. Overclocked. Okay, so it has a little indicator that that it's overclocked. VRAM overclocked. Can I set the overclock in here somewhere? It shows that it's overclocked, but it's doesn't not letting me click on it or do anything to it, as far as I can tell. Might have to adjust it in the BIOS, huh? Man, you are the best. I follow you for not so long, but you really are amazing. Keep up the good work. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Why 2K resolution had better FPS than 1080p on Cyberpunk? It's because I changed DLSS, Danital. I changed DLSS to be ultra performance versus quality. When you go up in resolution, you can set DLSS to be more aggressive and upsample better, and you get a better, I think, overall resulting image, which is a weird trade-off. But yeah. Which laptop will you give 300 FPS in Valorant under 2200? You've got I think any laptop, Rapid 16, any laptop with a mux switch, and at least an RTX 3060 or 3070, because it will be CPU bound with an RTX 3060. Valorant will be. So, like, if you want some recommendations, I would say Aorus 15G, Aorus 15P, MSI GP66, MSI GE66, the Alienware series that have direct connection or advanced Optimus. All of those would be great. So all of those cost less than 2200 and would hit over 200 FPS in Valorant. Or we'll give 300 FPS in Valorant. Yeah. So, well, close to 300. Yeah. I mean, I think if you're trying to get maximized CPU bound game performance, then what you want to go for is an i9 11980 HK. Alternatively, a very easy recommendation for 2200 would be under 2200 would be the GP66 with the 11800H, because you get the new Intel CPUs, You get a mux switch, a high TDP GPU, and it's only I think $18.99. So with tax and shipping, you should still stay completely under 2,200. Weebs Gaming, when will this release in Canada? I've been waiting for eons. Canada honestly sucks. I don't know. Now, I wanted to point out that our clock speed on, I don't know the Canadian release. Thank you so much for the super chat, but I don't know the Canadian release time. I know in the US it's supposed to be end of June, according to Lenovo. What I was trying to point out with the clock speed was that we were hitting 1850 and now we're over 1900 in the clock speed a lot. So our overclock is working. Do you think the Legion 5 Pro would be the best laptop in the mid-range tier? It'll be competitive with the best laptops for sure in the mid-range tier. I don't know if it'll be the very best. I think it comes down to individual needs and wants and pricing and configurations and what's available in your region. Why is laptop i9 so expensive? Because Intel always charges a lot for their i9 processors. It's always like a $300 to $400 markup every time. And it's usually only a small gain in performance. So, and can I test the webcam? Oh my God. Recommendation for a 17-inch laptop, $2,500 to $3,000 range. It depends on what you need, but I think the Scar 17 would be one of my go-tos. GE 76, secondary go-to. What other options? The 17-inch range. Alienware M15R4 or M17R4, but the Alienware will come out with an X17. There will also be a 17-inch Aorus that could be very interesting. Maybe test Cyberpunk again. Britt Allen says, I'm guessing 9,200. Quite possibly, Britt. We were getting about 100 megahertz more on an 1800, so that's about a 5% increase in clock speed or so, 5 to 6% or so. So probably around 9,200 to 9,300 would be my guess. You should try how deep learning works on these GPUs. Interesting. I haven't dived into deep learning very much. Which is more important for an esport like Apex Legends, CPU or GPU? It depends on what area of the map you're in. Some parts of Apex Legends are CPU bound, parts of it are GPU bound. 9277 for our overclock score. 9277. Whew. That's very good for an RTX 3060. Very, very good. Okay, loading up the webcam because someone really wanted to see it. Okay, and there it is. That's actually pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but you can clearly see my face. You can see the hair around my head. So for like a Skype webcam call, this is going to be okay. The colors are pretty muted. But yeah, decent webcam, not trash at least, you know? Cool. Okay. That's it, guys, for the stream. I hope I was able to answer as many of your questions. Like I said, I will be doing another live stream with this laptop in the near future. So you can always ask me more questions then. Okay, before my voice goes out, I need to end the live stream. Okay, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.